Property Investing for Women, empowering women to build wealth through property. A podcast brought to you by Investor Women. Create, nurture, prosper.
Hello and welcome. Today I have the pleasure of sharing the story of someone who, under our guidance, has used property investing as a stepping stone towards buying her home. She's my own personal trainer who I started working with some years back, as I didn't want to go into menopause in an unhealthy way with mental struggles and depression, which is quite common we women face during these years. Healthy body, healthy mind. Not only that, I'm hoping to be fit when I'm in my 80s and 90s, if I live that long. Let's welcome my lovely friend, Tanya Galea. Hello.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, we've skipped training today.
We have. Just this one time only.
So, who is Tanya?
Okay, so I run Body War Outdoor Group Fitness and Personal Training, as you know, because you've been a client of mine for quite some time, and you're absolutely been killing your training, I must say. I've been running the business with my business partner for about 16 years.
Wow.
Absolutely love what I do, helping people achieve their health and fitness goals and making a real positive change to their lives is what keeps me going every day.
So, why personal training though? What was
I
it
enjoy
before?
helping people. I enjoy the personal training aspect, being one-on-one, as I am with you, and really getting to know somebody and helping them achieve their own personal health and fitness goals, where the group fitness is completely different, and training a group in that team environment. There's the competition side, the motivation, and the team camaraderie. So I also love doing the group fitness as well. So I'm lucky to be able to do both.
So before starting this 16 years ago, well, that's a very long time to be doing this. You would have had amazing client stories to tell.
Definitely.
Yep. And so before starting, what exactly were you doing before the fitness?
Yeah, I've done a few different things before I found my passion, and I didn't find my passion till later on in life. Basically, in a nutshell, from school I went into the travel and tourism industry, and that's what I thought I wanted to do. So I was in the industry for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then thought I needed a complete change and went into the real estate industry.
Why?
Completely different.
Was it too hectic in the travel? You would think like in the travel industry you get to travel a lot.
And they were the perks of the job, and I did love that, but eventually it was long hours, and you were, living out of a suitcase at sometimes when you were travelling, and I just felt like I needed a change personally.
Wow.
So tried something completely different, went into the real estate industry, stayed there for a few years, and then found my passion, which was fitness. I've always been into fitness, but then decided I wanted to make that my career, and that's when we decided to open up Body War, and I have not looked back since.
And real estate you mentioned. So what made you go from travel and tourism to real estate?
I know, very different.
Yes.
I just wanted a complete change.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And saw a job opportunity pop up, and I thought, why not? It was actually close to home, which was another perk for me, because I used to travel quite a bit to get to the travel and tourism job. So working closer to home, for a short period of time, it was ideal for me at the time in my life. So,
So you grew up in which part? So you were always in Sydney?
Yes, always in Sydney. Grew up in Western Sydney, and then moved out to Southwest Sydney. But always been in the Sydney area.
And so the name of the company, that's your business?
Yes, I've got a business partner as well. He created the name. We started with just running a couple of, I think it was 3 sessions a week, and we ran the business part-time while we both worked full-time, and then eventually grew the business to a point where we could both leave our full-time jobs and do Body War full-time. So now we also do preschool fitness, corporate fitness, sport teams. So the business has definitely grown, and we're branching out into different avenues.
I love your business actually, because you yourself are looking after your own fitness by helping other people, and that's bringing you money as well.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. And I remember one time you said to me that your parents came and helped you. You started saving to buy your own home, and at that time your parents helped you. So how did that that come along.
Yes.
So what did you do there?
So I was in my late 20s when my parents said, look, we'd like to help you get your foot in the property market. Would you like to go 50-50 in an investment property?
Yeah.
And at the time I thought that was ideal because being in my late 20s, yes, I wanted to travel, I wanted to live life, but I also wanted to get my foot in the property market. So it was kind of like a safe option for me because I had the support of my parents and knowing I was going in 50% rather than 100% for the responsibility of a mortgage. So thankfully they jumped on board and we went 50-50 in an investment property. So back then it was a lot easier to get into the market, but I'm very thankful because that got my foot in the door. So we then had that property, I think for about 6 years. So then we eventually sold that and that gave me a little nest egg to start some serious savings. So then my intention was to get another investment property by myself, but it took me a few years to add to that the amount that we made when we sold the property, and eventually I was able to buy my first investment property by myself, which I was really proud of.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to go into this and do it by myself. I
Yeah.
didn't want to do it with a partner and I didn't want to do it with my parents again. I wanted to do it for me,
Yeah.
by myself.
And so that money that you made from your first property with your parents, that helped in terms of your savings. That was your. So if you were to save that kind of money, how long do you think would have taken you to save them?
Oh, so much longer.
Yeah.
So I invested the profit from the first sale of the investment property in term deposits. So I was able to build that nest egg, and I also worked harder to add to it myself, and I was able to get it to an amount that then allowed me to buy my own investment property.
And the reason for that investment property, you just wanted to do it by yourself, and at that time buying your home was not in question?
Yes,
Or,
yeah. Working for yourself is always a little bit harder to get finance and, to get that foot in the door. So I use this as a stepping stone because the end goal was really to get my own property to move into and to live in by myself. So I used the 2 investment properties as stepping stones to be able to get me to that point.
Right.
So I bought a property that needed a lot of renovating. So I did that. I renovated the property and then I was able to rent it out, and then I ended up selling it when the market was
Really
really high.
I know the time.
So,
Yeah.
so I was able to make another profit, and then that was my deposit then to buy my own property to live in.
And I know this journey from your parents' side. I wasn't there at the time, but those few years back when you bought that property and then did the renovation and then you sold it, I was actually very happy for the profit you made. You made good profit.
Yes, it was great timing.
Yeah, it was really good. This is where timing of the market and just understanding the area and all the rest of it and selecting the right property comes into play. So, what were your ups and downs and how did you manage them?
I didn't really have many downs. I consider myself to be really lucky, and I also think because I had a team of people helping me through the process. I had someone really great helping me with finance. I had a great buyer's agent that helped me with selecting the property. So I was able to get good advice for, I guess, an area that I wasn't very... I didn't have a lot of knowledge about, but I took advice from the people that knew what they were talking about, and it helped me get through.
So there would have been some times where there would have been like fear, you on your own wanting to do, and I know you wanted that challenge, you wanted to do it for yourself, but how did you overcome, like what were your thoughts at that time?
I guess one of my fears was when I bought the second investment property by myself, it's if I didn't have tenants, if I couldn't make those repayments, what am I going to do? I work for myself, so depending on how business is going, that I guess was a fear. But if I didn't jump in and take that step, I'd be back.
So what did you tell yourself? How did you make yourself jump in and take that step? That's the important bit.
It is, yeah. I think it was the time felt right. And I thought if I'm not going to do it now, I was getting older. I'm now in my late 40s. So, if I didn't jump in and do it now, when am I going to do this? So I felt confident because I had the support of professionals around me that were helping me get through it. So, and it all worked out. So, I also had a good real estate agent that was looking after the property as well. So that's someone else that was very helpful with the whole process.
Wow, beautiful. And so, one great achievement in this journey, one thing that really stands out for you? Being able to buy my own home by myself, for myself.
Being able to buy my own home by myself. Being able to buy my own home by myself, for myself.
Yeah.
I honestly thought I would probably never be able to do that, especially because, you know, as I've aged and the property market in Sydney has gone crazy, so to get your foot in the door, to get your own property, I thought was never going to be achievable for me. But having those stepping stones.
So your parents first helped you, that gave you some deposit. You used that money to put in term deposits and other ventures, and then that gained some, that increased your deposit a little bit more. And then you used all of that to buy another investment property, which is the one you renovated and then sold. And then that helped you create those funds a little bit more bigger, so that now, was it that you wanted to have a sort of a lower mortgage going into? Was that the thought as well, that you wanted to have a more deposit, a larger base, and then buying your own home, the way your deposits were quite large?
Absolutely, yep. And that's what happened. I was able to have a bigger deposit, which allowed me then to, I was renting for a long period of time, so I'm actually paying a little bit less in paying my mortgage now than I was in rent, because I was able to get a bigger deposit to help set me up.
And to get that kind of deposit, like, you know, if you were just earning average income, how long do you think that would have happened? Like, that would have taken
I don't even know if it would have happened, to be honest. With the cost of living and everything, it would take so much longer to be able to save up a deposit, particularly doing it by myself. Not having two incomes, it's doing it on one income. So,
yeah, well, that's actually quite empowering, because, you know, you're a woman, you're alone, you're responsible for your own financial, and then you're taking these steps to go and do this, and so you've proven that you can. Like, it's and
that was really rewarding. I was really proud of myself that I was able to do that, and it was empowering. It's like I now own my own property, and I did it by myself.
Beautiful. So, if you were to do anything at all again, either in your business, I know you've run a very successful business for the last 16 years, and or either in the property side of things, would there be anything you would do differently, having, you know, reflecting back on the things that you did?
100%. I would have started earlier. And my parents did say that, like, you know, save up, buy an investment property at a young age. But at the time, traveling and going out and enjoying life was a priority for me.
Of course.
So, now looking back, I really do wish I started in my early 20s. Took my parents' advice. So I'd definitely say if anyone out there has the opportunity to start earlier, take it.
However, we don't want it to be too much of a pressure either, because in your 20s, yes, you want to travel, you want to do all these things, but yes, have one property. I say to people, like, in your 20s, buy one, in your 30s, buy one. By the time you really come into your 40s, that's when you seriously start in thinking. But yes, if you want to do a little bit more focused approach to this, then you could buy maybe, you know, 2 in your 20s, 2 in your 40s, 30s, and by the time your 40s is there, you're kind of in a position, much better position to decide what you want to do at that time, because you've got 2, 3 or 4, you know, you probably don't need as many properties, but you've got a better base at that time when you really want to do something by the time you are 40. So well, this just answers this question, like in your 20s, right, how you were, going back to someone in your 20s, if you were to say something to someone in their 20s, would that be different to someone in their 30s and in their 40s? Like, do you think your messaging would change when people are at different ages?
Probably, especially for women wanting to invest by themselves. I completely understand it's scary to take that step. But I think if you've got the right people around you, you've got the support, you've got great advice, get out there and do it. I always said to myself, okay, if something happened and things turned bad, I could always just sell the property. So don't be so scared, take that step and do it, because the benefits that can come from it are far greater.
Wow, that's good. Wow. And so now, what's the next 10 years look like for you?
Okay, so now I've got my own place. I feel like now I would love to get back into the property investing. So it's, I guess, I'm relatively new into my new home. So I'd say probably within the next 5 to 6 years, I would seriously consider looking at starting investing and starting. I guess it's starting again for me in the investing area. But even if it means buying interstate, so it's because Sydney's quite expensive at the moment, but I also know that there's options of going interstate and looking at different ways to get back into the property market.
Beautiful. And is there anything else you'd like to add or ask me or anything?
I think it's really empowering for women, being if you're with somebody or not, to have a nest egg for you, to do something for you. I think that's really important.
So how do you differentiate? I mean, when there's a relationship, right, there's a husband and a wife, and naturally a woman kind of, not all, but most women tend to kind of depend on the husband, that he's steering the ship and it's okay, or I'm here. Why do you think it's important for the woman to be part of that and be aware of what's that?
I think feeling empowered as a woman is so important, regardless if you're in a relationship or not. You are your own person. When you're in a relationship, I think it's really important to still be your own person, even though you're in a partnership or a relationship. So I think financially, even job-wise and family-wise, it's really important to separate yourself and be you, and still be in a committed relationship and be with somebody. So I think a lot of women are probably scared to take that step and feel that they're joined at the hip and everything has to be together, when in actual fact it doesn't. And it doesn't mean you don't love that person anymore or you're still not in a relationship. It just means you're being a little bit more independent.
So buying a home is quite emotional. So can you walk me through your journey and your experiences during that process?
Sure, and I completely agree. When I was buying my investment property, I took the emotion out because it was going to be an investment. Buying a property to live in, obviously I had the emotion in that because it was going to be the place I was going to live. So I actually purchased the property by auction. So I'd never been to an auction before in my life. So thankfully, under the help of you guys, you helped me get through the auction. It's a very male-orientated process, being at an auction, and I did feel very intimidated. There was mostly males there. There's a lot of yelling and screaming. It's fast pace. So as I said, it was very new to me, very nerve-wracking. Thankfully, you guys helped me with the bidding. There was a lot of toing and fro. We got to a certain price that was discussed, and then we had to go into another room to do further discussions. So that was, I guess, my anxiety levels were at an all-time high because it was happening so fast. I had a certain price that I needed to stick to, and I loved the property so much. I already was emotionally attached to it and wanted it, so I was just hoping to God everything would go my way. We came back out of the room after negotiating, and thankfully it all went my way, and I was able to secure the property at the price that was
not going over.
So it all worked out in the end. But it was definitely an emotional process, and like I said, male dominated. So there weren't many females in the room. I did feel amazing once the process had finished. After the
pressure was off. Pressure was off. Yes, it is. I still come across agents who only talk to even at a open home, since if both of us go to the open home, we're looking at some homes out the northern side of the city, and agents just go to the men and talk to them.
100%. Well, when I was looking for properties, I would go with either my father or my brother, and they knew I was the one purchasing the property, but however, they would direct the conversation and everything to the male that I was with. And it's like, hang on, I'm the one buying the property, talk to me.
Talk to me,
but, that's just how it is. But hopefully in time that will change.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Wow, that's quite interesting and very intimidating. You just want to hold them and say, hey, look, can't you see me?
It is intimidating,
Can't you see me? I'm here. I'm the one buying it.
I'm the one buying it. I'm the one that's,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's the process, and it'll change. It will change in time.
I think it will in time,
Well, it was lovely talking to Tanya today. I really hope it gave you some insight into how to buy your own home, and using property investment strategies is another way to build up your deposit. And I'm hoping you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. So till next time, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs, and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned. This podcast has been brought to you by Investor Women.